Okay, it worked that time. Hey everybody, this is Catherine from Yoked, where we are helping women find ways to love and live based on Christian principles. And of course, we have my co-star, Jermaine. So, we're kind of in the middle of National Dump Your Significant Jerk Week. And if you've been following along, I've shared a couple of blog posts and a video about really evaluating your relationships and deciding if you should stay or leave those relationships. Not that I am trying to, break anybody up, but we take the covenant of marriage very seriously, and it saves a lot of heartache and hurt down the road if you really look at who you are and who you're with before you actually get married. So today I wanted to come on and let you listen to a story from my husband, a moment of transparency, and we have a lot of those actually. But when we were dating, we actually lived together for a couple of months before we got married. Actually, it was about a year before we got married that we lived together, and he moved in and had some, I guess, he did his whole relationship evaluation process when he moved in. He didn't tell me about it until later, which was probably a good thing, but he did. So I really wanted you to hear his story, and then I'll tell you kind of my take on it then and how I feel about it now.
So me now?
Yes, you now.
Okay. And I'm on.
Yes.
So before I moved in with KC, I had wait, do they know your name?
Yeah.
Okay. So
okay, so for those who are like, what? My name is Catherine, but everybody calls me Casey. I actually prefer Casey, but anyway, digression.
So before I moved in with her, I said to myself, I'm not going to move in with her with the intention of just being a roommate forever. I'm not going to live in her house forever or indefinitely without some sort of plan. I can't just go in and live there and say, okay, this is good, I'm going to stay here until whenever. So I decided in my mind, I gave myself 6 months to make a decision, either leave her or propose. And I didn't tell her this before I moved in, but it was something I placed on myself because I didn't want any outside influences. I really wanted to have a chance to think about it and consider all the options, well, both options for myself. And when it came down to it, it came down to one simple question that I asked myself. When I picture the happiest moment of my life, when I picture something that I am doing that is just awesome, is Casey there or is she not? The answer was yes. So I proposed.
Yeah, so for those of you who have not, I guess I should have led with that. Anyone who has not met my husband, he's a very introspective person. He's very analytical. He doesn't really do things without putting a lot of thought into them. Whereas I'm just like, oh, this is amazing, let's do all the things. He's like, okay, we really need to think this through. What's going to happen? What are the pros and cons of the situation? So he told me that after we got married, and I think it was probably for the best that he didn't tell me that up front, because I would have been very emotional about it. I would have not been logical about it at all. When we even started the whole the marriage advocate thing, where we wanted to make sure before we got engaged that we were doing the right thing, I was very emotional about it. I was not analytical about it. I was very upset, but it turned out to be one of the best things. So I wanted you to hear his story and how that impacted our relationship, because a lot of times, especially as women, we get into relationships and we know that they're not good for us. We know that we're not going to be our best selves in those relationships, but we stay there because it's familiar and it's comfortable, and we've invested so much time and energy into that relationship that we're very hesitant to let it go. And that can be a very dangerous and very toxic way for people to live, not just women, but men too. It's a very toxic way for us to live because we are tethering ourselves to a person and a potential that is not for us. And by holding on to that, we really miss out on all the blessings that we are meant to have, because we're not willing to open our hands to receive something greater. So a message for those who may be in relationships and not really sure that they're going to go any further. Really take a look at what's going on, what you want from life, what your partner wants from life. If those issues and ideals don't match up, take some time to really consider, why are you there, and what is your purpose in being in that relationship, because it can make all the difference between contentment and greatness. So we're off to go see an orchestra. I'll tell you about that later, because I'm pretty sure it's going to be awesome. But I hope you guys have an amazing day. Ladies, really take some time to look and see who you are and who you want to be, and if the person that you're with is lining up with that. Love y'all. Have a good one. Bye.